Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be taking you through my September art plans. If you've been here before, you know that every month I set myself a personal art challenge, and it's just a way to keep me on track with practicing art throughout the month, and I share it with you for accountability. This month I'm going to be working with actually, let me hold tight. This month I'm going to be focusing on buildings. Sounds bizarre, right? I've got a selection of books here, like I normally do, that I'm going to take you through for inspiration purposes. And then I'll run through the sketchbooks that I'll be using, and then also the materials as well. So it's like a 3-segment video. First up, we have the inspiration part. So this is Sketchbook Joy, which is Katie Moody's book. I'll link to her channel down below in the description. And she has a tutorial in here on urban sketching. And I'll do this as a video. She has said previously that I could do that with her book, do a tutorial from it. So I'm going to take inspiration from that. Here she uses brush pens and colour pencils, and it's something I don't do often enough, is working with my brush pens. I have gotten used to using them more for illustrative work of people rather than anything else. So it would be fun to bring those back. Then we have, now I don't know how to say this surname, Mark Harold's workbook. I've got a couple of pages bookmarked here. If you haven't seen his work before, there's a lot of collage, texture, it's brilliant, I love it. Now, how amazing is that? Whitby Pigeon Loft. Obviously we can ignore the fact that the birds are there, although I don't intend to, but I love how the collage buildings have come together. Did I tell you what the theme was? I think I told you the theme. It's buildings, right? You know what I'm like, I'm rubbish. So kind of a bit more urban-y, but it could also capture farmlandy buildings. I also am really inspired by this one with the building and all the nature around. I think that's quite apt because obviously July was nature month, August has been landscape month, and I feel like it's natural to then have buildings which would slot into those environments but could also be their own subject in its own right, or its own subject in its own right. And then a bit more London buildings, and I love it's both equally graphic but also illustrative, using collage in this way, and I never use collage. Am I going to use collage this month? I don't know. We'll see how that goes, see if I'm inspired, but I definitely want to take the collage aesthetic, the vibe of collage, and see what I can do with that more graphic nature. And you'll see how I plan to do that shortly when I talk about materials. And I love this one as well, look at that. So that's inspiration. And then it's kind of like the other end of the spectrum, we have Cézanne. Now I have brought my Cézanne book out time and time again, so you've seen it if you've seen any of my other videos. So there's lots of bookmarks, but it's only certain ones that we're worrying about today, because I have lots of pages bookmarked for other reasons. So this is, if we think about the Mark Harold one, this is a much more, I mean, it's still graphic in its own way. Like this is a farm, but we have, like, look at the different textures, the line work, whereas here it's much more subtle. It's still like, it feels to me a bit like a farm, to be the countryside. The two different styles. And I just want to take on board the different approaches that can be used when depicting buildings in art, which is why I share these reference books with you each month when I set myself an art challenge. We've also got, again, this feels really graphic. Can you see like the dark edges to sections? It's always slightly darker and it's separating out elements of the landscape, and we have this building and this building, and buildings are part of the landscape, aren't they? Here's another example of buildings hidden amongst the landscape. Can you see that? The little roofs showing up, and this is from 1874. And this is another example. Let me zoom you back out. Looks like it's not fully complete. There's plenty of white space dotted around. It's not as vibrant as other ones. This is 1885, so 10 years later. And then this smaller, again, you can see very subtle. I like the composition. That's something else I want to think about again this month. If we divide that into thirds, the building is bang in like a key point to look at. You've got the line leading you up to it. It's surrounded by the trees and the blue, and that's a really lovely image. And then I've got also, this was what I was looking at for landscape month. Look at the separation. You'll see this pop up or something similar in my landscape sketchbook review, which I think is a week from when you're watching this, because I have another video going live as well. But isn't that beautiful? Has nothing to do with buildings, so I'm going to close that. So that's Cézanne. Very, very different from Mark Harold and from the tutorial in Katie Moody's sketchbook, and I like to take on board those different elements or different styles, so to speak, and see what resonates with me, what can I use, what can I do differently. This is Mary Newcomb's book, and you can see I've got quite a few bookmarks for different reasons in here. This is her drawing from observation. So we've got a building, oil, on board. And then this, I assume, was something that she was inspired by. But you can take like how to stylize something, how to take a simple and turn it into something else. It's like this has just been plonked down. There's no shadow coming from it. Very flat. Can I do something like that? Or should I be thinking of ways to make something more three-dimensional? This one doesn't have a building. I think I bookmarked that just because I liked it. And here's the other building. Okay, these guys do have a little shadow hanging out underneath them, but everything else is just really subtle colors as well. But that's an interesting way to do buildings. Very muted color palette. And also the church is bang center, bang in the middle. There's no like rule of thirds. I guess you've got a sort of triangle composition. So that's my sources of inspiration for this month. In terms of sketchbooks, you've seen this one before. This is one that I made. I'm really excited. I made it with the purpose that I would be using it this month to do buildings and urbany, like the combination. I think the format's going to lend itself well to that, and I will report back at the end of the month. If you haven't seen the video where I made this, I will link it up here and it'll be in the description as well. But you can see I wrote down each type. There are 27 different paper types in here. So I think it's going to be a great opportunity for me to see how these papers do with this particular topic. Then we have this square book. This is a hot pressed watercolor, 100% cotton from Lightwish, which I've also shared. I'll leave a link to this down below. I feel like this format's going to work well as well. I don't appreciate the perforation in it, so it's unlikely that I'll work across the spread because I don't need that perforation in the way. But what I like about this is I can just rip the pages out, and if I want to put them on the wall or something. I'm not sure why I would want to do that, but that's because I don't have the confidence to put my own work on the wall yet. Okay, and then finally materials. I'm going to be using, because September I will actually be in a fixed location for the first time in a couple of months. I was away in May, I was away in June, I was away for most of July and most of August, and frankly I'm exhausted. It's been great and it was lovely to spend so much time with family, but I have been away from all the different materials that I have because I can't obviously take them all with me. So this month being fixed location for the entire month of September, I want to experiment and I want to play and I want to have fun. Not to say that I haven't had fun, but I've gathered supplies together that means I can guarantee I'm going to have fun. Even if it's frustrating fun, it'll be fun. So first up, my jelly press. I did some jelly printing, my first ever jelly print during Emma Carlisle's Patreon party, which I think was May, might have been April. And I've not touched it since because we've just been so busy. So I want to get this out and I want to play, have fun with it. And I think this will work really well for those like Mark Harold. Am I saying that right? If you know how to say that, you should let me know for sure. Because it's like Harold's, I don't know. But that graphic style, even though that's collage, I reckon it will work really well for jelly printing. So there's that. To work with the jelly print, obviously I'll get my acrylics out, but they're too bulky to have on the table. But I will also use my acrylic markers, which don't come out very often now either. Because if I'm out and about, I can't really take all that with me. I will be using my trusty Gouache palette, which I adore. Let me see if I can get it open. It's a bit stuck at the moment. It is not opening. There we go. It's a bit moofy, but I've been using it all summer. Love it. My purple is scooching out. Actually, that's wrong now. I changed it. I changed it around. Can you see? I don't use this to reference anymore because I changed it. That's so funny that I hadn't even noticed. Wow, I know what all the colours are anyway. That's what happens when you use something so much. And then we also, because I learned some jelly printing techniques from Marsha, who is like the jelly printing queen, I will put her channel, I think she has a channel, she has an Instagram account and she does some stuff for one of the jelly companies. I will link her in the description below. But I'm going to get my pastels out, my chalk pastels. These are lovely. Look at that colour gradation. Some of these are Unison, some of them are Jacksons. These square ones are something else, I can't remember what. They're really dirty, they get me messy, so I don't drag them out very often because they give me like the but I want to have fun with them. I think this one's a Schminky. That's broken Schminky. So those will come out to play. And also, I've just put these ones on the table because it's easy to deal with. But we also have my oil pastels. I have loads of oil pastels, as we know. So those will be coming out for fun as well. Because imagine all the textures I can get. All the colour, all the textures. I feel like this is going to be a good month. One thing I should note is I've shown you the 2 sketchbooks that I intend to use, but I will probably work on loose paper as well, just because it's hard to do jelly printing and everything in sketchbooks. So expect to see some loose pages at the end of the month. Right, I think that's everything. I hope you're excited to see what happens this month. If you're going to join in at all with buildings, let me know. I would love to hear about it in the comments. I will report back in October to see how I got on and share the work with you. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'm excited to get back into the thick of things here on YouTube, and have a wonderful day. See you soon. Take care. Bye.